It's time to strap on your best leather and get back into the Underworld universe, as this week we talk about the 2006 sequel, Underworld Evolution. Let's go.
Flip the switches to maximum amplification as Parker, Dan, and Angela prepare for their operation. With trivia and plot points scrawled across their walls, laughter and debate erupts as the movie's drama calls. The world may call them crazy, minds gone astray, but genius and passion and madness all dance the same way. Now the show begins to rise from its broadcast realm, and you can open your eyes as we dissect that film.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Dissect That Film Podcast, a podcast that dissects the good, the bad, and the ugly of cinema. I am your host, Brett Parker. Joining me, as always, my wonderful co-host, Dan and Angela of DNA Gaming.
Hello. I felt the wind off of that one.
It was close. Jacked up. I was ready.
And joining us once again, it's been way too long, but he's back to talk Underworld with us. That is Wyatt from Cinema Trip Reviews. What's going on, Wyatt?
Hey, what's going on, everybody? Thanks for having me on again.
Oh, anytime, man. Like I said, it's been way too long, and that needs to change. You need to become a regular, like I've made Joey see.
Hey, man, anytime. You just let me know. I'm here.
Well, I like to bring in new people, and that's kind of like how it goes, like trying to bring in like new guests and stuff. But then you have like, I have that list of like certain people. I'm like, I know if I reach out to them anytime, they're coming on the show.
Mark me down as that backup for anybody
right.
you got. And I'll be there.
Oh, man. Well, Wyatt, it's been a while. So why don't you tell everybody what Cinema Trip Reviews is all about?
Yeah, I mean, Cinema Trip Reviews, we have a YouTube channel, also available wherever you get your podcasts. We talk about brand new movies and also the old classics. We do retro reviews as well, and then pretty much anything in between. We cover pretty much everything. We do holiday movies, October and then in December. I've been recently wanting to go back and do a lot of classics from like the 60s and 70s recently, so I may be doing that here going forward. And we also have a ton of guests on here throughout the year as well, so be looking forward to that too.
Yes. Everything. You definitely need to check out Cinema Trip Reviews. I mean, he's been here a few times already. If you did not know, he was on here to talk about Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas. He was here to talk about Evil Dead 2013. And then his last appearance was to talk about Life of Brian, Monty Python's Jesus comedy, as I'm going to title it. So yeah,
talked about Last of Us too.
We talked about The Last of Us season 1, which season 2 is right around the corner, and I am debating on whether or not I want to do what I did last time for season 2. I don't know.
Me too.
We will see. We will see.
I was reviewing it as well, so I might be doing that for Patreon. Who knows?
Yeah, we'll see how that goes. But we're just excited to have you back, and thank you so much for being here. Yeah, absolutely. Today we're talking about Underworld Evolution from 2006. Again, it was directed by Len Wiseman, written by Danny McBride. Not that Danny McBride. I want to iterate that again.
Google that, by the way. Danny McBride.
The only reason I didn't know, the reason I found out it wasn't that Danny McBride is because I bought this awesome 5-movie collection, and every one has all the special features. And I'm watching the special features, and I'm like, that's not Danny McBride. Why is his name under this man? He literally is known for writing the first 2 Underworld movies, and then his name is attached to the rest of them.
Mm-hmm.
So it stars Kate Beckinsale back as Selene, Scott Speedman as Michael Corvin, Tony Curran as Marcus Corvinus, Derek Jacobi as Lorenz Maccaro. I'm gonna keep it at that. Stephen McIntosh as Andreas Tanis, Shane Broley as Craven, and Bill Nighy as Victor, Zita Gorog as Amelia, Brian Steele is William Corvinus. So he was the guy inside the werewolf costume for anyone
that
who
makes
know,
sense.
since William is literally a werewolf this entire movie. Andrew Kavadas as Selene's father, Kayla Levins as Selene's sister, and John Mann as Samuel. I don't know who Samuel is, but that's what Wikipedia tells me. So,
okay,
whoever you are, Samuel. The music was done by Marco Beltrami, the composer from the last movie. Wasn't able to do this one, but then comes back for the later movies. So Marco Beltrami came in, filled in for this one. For anyone who doesn't know who Marco Beltrami is, he most famous for the scores for like Scream. We talked about him for Terminator 3, for Resident Evil. He's done a lot of scores. He did the Carrie remake, Quiet Place. Oh, we talked about him for the Nun 2. Venom, Let There Be Carnage.
Yes.
Sorry. Yeah, a lot of stuff. He did a lot of stuff with Wes Craven, Guillermo del Toro. Just
I know who that
is. A very seasoned veteran in the composing world. It was released January 11, 2006 at the Cinerama Dome, wherever that is, and January 20th, 2006 in the United States. Had a runtime of an hour and 46 minutes. $45 million budget and $113.4 million made at the box office. So another successful movie. It's kind of, the funny thing is when I remember all those years ago when we covered the garbage movies that are the Resident Evil franchise, that was kind of the same thing with them. They all made very similar box office. Like their budgets were around $55 million and they'd make like 115 million at the box office. So I was like, well, we made double our budget. Got to make another one.
Yep. Keep making more.
And you're just like, you can stop now. we don't want this. But I will say the difference between the Resident Evil movies and so far the Underworld movies is like, at least Underworld Evolution took what they did with the first one and just kind of ran with it in the second one, where it all makes sense. Like it's a good 1-2 punch. It's not like Resident Evil where it's like, let's introduce 17 more characters and let's introduce this and that and a bunch of like, stop it, Paul W.S. Anderson. We don't want this.
Yes, please. And they're also not, even though I know there's novels that these are based on, I believe.
Are there?
I think, or maybe there's like movie, like book or movie to book.
Maybe.
There's adaptations because I know they listed some, but whatever. The point is, they're not like bastardizing a franchise that I know about.
Yeah, exactly.
They're doing their thing.
Well, it's like, hey, we have all this lore, but let's make our own shit up. And you're like, I get like trying to be different, but like at least give the fans what they want, you know.
Yeah.
But
I remember watching the first Resident Evil for the first time, and as a fan of the games, being like, huh, that was definitely a movie.
Yeah, like, who the hell is Alice?
Resident Evil, but it's okay, I guess.
The first one is always the one where I'm like, yeah, it's okay, it's fine. I mean, I've talked about it way too much. I really could care less about ever seeing that movie again. But it's funny because like it's so funny how much the Underworld movies feel like the same formula as Resident Evil, but they're just, this is how you do it right. At least 2 movies in. We're only 2 movies into this franchise, so it could all go downhill in the next 3 movies. I mean, we got a prequel coming up next, and then we have 2 sequels that come out like 5 or 6 years after this one that like continue this story. So who knows how it keeps going.
There's a lot of franchises that only have 2 good movies.
Very true.
Hey, listen, that's probably right. But my prediction somewhere in this, dragons.
I wouldn't be surprised. I would not be surprised.
Possibly in China. Possibly some kind of emperor. Just saying.
Oh God, please. Oh, not the Dragon Emperor again. Jet Li just shows up in an Underworld movie. He's like,
Jet Li we're talking about?
Yeah, you killed me once, but I'm back.
Selena's going to open a bar called Craven's. Or Lucian's. I don't know.
Oh, God. That's so funny. Oh, poor Craven. Not really, but... No,
not I would have been fine with more Lucian, though. After watching the first one again,
right?
Like, I would have been fine with more of this guy. But
not
Craven.
So, a lot of the crew from the first one came back for this one, especially all the
Makes
people for
sense.
like the effects. James Quaid, he was the VFX supervisor on the original. He came back to be the VFX supervisor in this one. Again, as we talked about in the first one, this movie uses a lot of practical effects and it uses a lot of miniature work. And I guess the VFX shots did like almost double compared to the last one. I think I think I read it was like 400 VFX shots in the original, and I think they mentioned it was like almost double that for this one, which you can tell there's a lot more CG shots. But I feel like they're done pretty well, and we'll talk about like where they primarily use that. But a lot of miniature work done. And then Patrick Tatopoulos comes back to help do a lot of the suit work, but also primarily he focused on the production design. So a lot of the sets and the locations and all that, because there was a lot of this movie was actually filmed on location. It wasn't filmed on a lot. I mean, there were a lot of shots on a lot, but they were finding like locations that fit the bill for certain shots. And they're like, oh, this looks like a good enough spot. Let's film it here in this like mountainside place because, oh, hey, it might snow here. Because like the beginning of this movie, it snows, real snow, all the snow on the ground, real snow. Like it wasn't like manufactured for the movie.
Such a novel when movies used to do that.
Yeah.
Filming, like
instead of being like, let's just stand in front of this blue screen for the whole time.
Yeah.
Add everything in post.
So gross. It's like, I don't understand how, I mean, I get, before I start bashing VFX artists, I'm not going to do that because I understand why things go the way they do, especially nowadays, because studios just don't give their VFX teams enough time to actually put the final touches on stuff or make things look real. Because like you watch newer action movies or newer movies that are in this same vein. Like if this movie was made today, and the funny thing is the last Underworld movie came out in like 2016, 2017.
Yeah. Really?
So who knows, like we haven't watched it yet, but who knows how that one's going to look visually compared to like this one or the original, where a lot of the effects were focused on practical, with CG being used sparingly, but being used in the right ways, because it just, according to Len Wiseman, it just didn't make sense for them to try to make something practical that it just wouldn't look right. So being able to like have that practical effect, but also add some CG elements to it would make more sense.
I think that's quitter talk, by the way. We just couldn't make it practical. You seen all the cool shit we've made practical through like the history of cinema? Babies. I know not everything. I know you can't do everything. Just saying.
But also, I mean, the thing is like back in the day, like you talk about The Thing, 1982, right? Rob Bottin comes in, does all those amazing practical effects. Practical effects were cheaper back then. And also CG wasn't a thing, right? So CG becomes a thing. And even at the time when like Jurassic Park is being done, or, you go back to like The Abyss or Terminator 2, CG wasn't as expensive to use because it was a new technology. So they were still trying to figure things out. So CG was super expensive, I should say, because it was a new technology. They were trying to figure it out. And so there's a lot of computing power that costs a shit ton of money. But now practical is more expensive than using CG. That's why a lot of movies just primarily use CGI. You think of like Jurassic World, we talked about it. There's like one shot of practical dinosaurs in that entire movie. And it's the dying Apatosaurus that Chris Pratt holds in his hands is the only practical shot of a dinosaur. But then Fallen Kingdom, people were mad that there wasn't a lot of practical effects. So the next one, they were like, well, what if we made the entire T-Rex practical again? When it's sitting behind, it's in the back of that truck. Or we'll make sure that blue's a practical effect when it's on the operating table getting operated on to make it feel real and the person's actually interacting. It's like, yeah, do that. Yes, it's going to cost you more money, but
I think depending on what you're doing, I agree. I can see where you're coming from, but I also think that nowadays with the cost of stuff, that they just CG shit just to CG shit, and it's really not cheaper.
Well, there's
some things you could do that just aren't.
I'm talking. I mean, I could be just talking out of my ass right now. I mean, it's just from things I've read about the industry, but also the industry is in shambles you know, because instead of actually making quality movies, which there are a lot of quality movies still being put out there, but then you're getting pumped out with a bunch of trash, just trash to just have things out there. Like, you know, in our pre-show, we talked about, I talked about how I watched Craven. Those Sony villain movies are just garbage. They're just pumped out garbage just so that Sony can retain rights to these characters so that Marvel can't take them to include them with Spider-Man. So let's just make these trash ass movies. They don't give a shit how good they are.
Of course.
But yet they'll attach good people to them. Like the Venom movies, like Tom Hardy is a respectable actor. And he's actually been heavily involved in those Venom movies. Andy Serkis was a director on the second one, which is the worst one of the three.
Yeah.
So it just shows kind of like how Hollywood is now compared to, I mean, this is 2006, but you got to think that's almost 20 years ago now. Like, and how different just in those 20 years things have been. But
that's what I was thinking whenever I watched the first one. I was like, damn, it's like over 20 years ago. The first one came out now.
2003. It's crazy. Another great thing though is the soundtrack for this movie, that like mid 2000s freaking soundtrack. You have a song by Chester Bennington. You have Hawthorne Heights, My Chemical Romance, Slipknot, Atreyu, Trivium, Cradle of Filth.
Yeah. I gotta go look at the soundtrack. I gotta go see who's all on this motherfucker.
Dude, it's a dope one. It's like, that's when you would end a movie and you would just throw in this like heavy metal song, and it was just like, yes, I'm so ready to watch this again.
I mean, going back to like Resident Evil had a good soundtrack too.
It did.
Slipknot and everything, Marilyn Manson and whatever.
Yeah.
The second one had a good one too.
It's the only two I want to say I enjoy. I'll put that in air quotes.
Yes.
But I think it's time we hop into the plot of Underworld Evolution. I'll throw in some facts here and there as we go through the plot, but are you guys ready?
Let's do it.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. It's time to dissect that film. So the movie opens to some text on the screen. We're getting some like Star Wars-esque opening scroll that tells us about the blood feud between vampires and lycans, and about how Alexander Corvinus is the kind of the godfather or the father of both vampires and werewolves, and that Marcus, one of his sons, was the Bat. So he was like the first ever vampire, and then his brother William was like the first ever werewolf.
And then the third son's just immortal.
Wait, was there a third one, or is this a joke?
Yeah. No, the third one is immortal. It's just a normal mortal. That's where Michael's bloodline comes down from. From the middle one.
I'm glad you paid attention to that. I'm like, wait, there was a third brother. What did I miss here?
I just watched it like this weekend. But I mean, like, that whole story is only brought up like in just passing in the first movie. They mention it very briefly.
Yeah.
About like, Cornelius and the three sons or whatever.
Yeah, because in the first one you have the whole thing where that doctor is like trying to figure out like the blood, and he's trying to find the right person and all that. So yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So it's 1202 AD. And a village is destroyed, and you find out that this village has been destroyed by William, who is as I stated before, he was the first ever werewolf, and he's just gone through. He's bit a bunch of people, and Victor, played by Bill Nighy, comes through, and we finally get to see Marcus for the first time, pre-hibernation Marcus, where Victor is very protective of him, where he wants to go into battle, and he wants to try to find his brother. He tells him you're not supposed to hurt him. You promised you wouldn't hurt him. And Victor, being shady, we know how he is now based on the first movie, that he's not a man of his word. He's a very shady dude. And things start happening. The dead start to awaken, and they start turning into lycans. And we find out later in the movie that once the ones that are bitten by William are like ravage beasts, like they are savage beasts. They literally, once they turn into lichens, they can't go back to human form. And so they wake up, we get this whole battle. Victor pretty much tells Marcus to go away because if he dies, they all die. And you're sitting there going, what? Huh. Like you're starting to pick up on something that you'll find out fully later in the movie. They're like, why is he so weird about Marcus? All right. So they go into the woods and they find William, who is this just like he is. When you think of a werewolf, when you've seen pictures in other movies about werewolves, this is what you picture, right? Like the other lichens we've seen in these movies are very evolved. Like they're kind of like a new design, new breed of lichen. Like he is the OG, so he is like your generic lichen, but he's like all white. He's awesome looking. Like he is.
Yeah, he is.
I want
Hair everywhere.
I want a freaking statue of William because he is cool as hell. Him, and I actually like the design of Marcus too when we see him later.
Oh yeah, sounds awesome.
But I really love this whole opening scene where the werewolf or where the lichens are attacking the vampires and they're throwing each other around and they're like jumping off of roofs and getting tackled, and it's a really awesome way to just open this movie and be like
People like necks getting bit open.
Oh
blood's
yeah,
flying everywhere.
it's fantastic. Because the thing is
going from. Oh, go ahead, man.
Oh no, I was to say the fact that we got that opening crawl right, and they could have just gave us that opening crawl and then sent us to the current day with Selene, but instead they're like, no, we're going to show you. We're not going to show you like the beginning, but we're going to show you. Here's Marcus. Here's Victor. Oh, we're going to show you William. We're going to show you what he looks like 5 minutes into the movie instead of you not seeing him until they open up his crypt later on in the movie. So I really like how they kind of introduce this world, which we'll get more of, I guess, in the next one.
Yeah, and I mean, going back to like this, you talking about the special effects. From watching the first one going into the very beginning of this one, you can see where they used all that extra money. Like this one looks 5 times better, not just like film quality, but the effects look way better. Like the transformations, the gore and everything. It's a huge step up, only a couple years removed from the first one.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about it in the Underworld episode, was the fact that they used CG sparingly to the point where they would show the beginning of a transformation for a lichen, and then they would cut down to like the hand, which would be a practical hand, like lichen hand, and then they would go back up and it would be a practical lichen head. Where this one, they show a full transformation from beginning to end, all in CG, and it looks really good. I mean, it is in the dark, and I know that like early CG, like if you put it in the dark, it's going to look a lot better than like if you saw this in a the middle of the day, which it wouldn't make any sense because vampires can't be out in the day. So it makes sense that we have. I think the transformations look great. They're really fast. It's like, and some of them are like fully transformed. Some of them are just they're still like humans, but like with sharp teeth and claws and stuff like that. And the crazy thing is when you look at the different lichens, like even the lichens in the beginning of this, and then you see them later on in the movie, they don't have much hair on them.
No,
like it's like as they evolved, they lost the hair. Because if you look at William, when you see him for the first time, the dude's covered. So like just showing how, like, yeah, this is the he's the OG.
And I love like this is the time of the early 2000s where you were able to use filters. Like these first 2 movies are just blue, pretty much. Like
100%.
And I love it. Like you actually had color to movies. Like nowadays, everything just seems so drab and too realistic. And like I like we talk about Nosferatu at the beginning. They actually use like real candlelight and stuff like that to actually like the scenes and all that. I like them actually. I saw a picture on Twitter of like a bunch of different movies from like the 90s and early 2000s where they're actually using like blue to represent the night. Like look at T2 when they're in the prison and stuff. It's all lit up blue. And it's like, I miss that kind of filmmaking. I want to go back to that a little bit.
Yes, when it's done right. Or you could be like Cruel Jaws where they just put a blue filter over everything and everything is blue. And you're like, what is happening? It's nighttime, guys. It's nighttime. So William gets captured and Victor's like, we're going to lock him up forever. and he's going to be far away from you, Marcus, because we know what you're going to do. You're not going to let him, be locked up for a while. So we're going to make sure we hide him away from you. So we then get kind of like a last time on Underworld by Selene.
We do.
It's like, I just watched the movie last week, so I don't really need this recap, but thanks anyways. So literally this movie takes place directly after the end of the last one. We're literally seeing Selene and Michael wandering through the woods after escaping from the last one after they killed Victor. And they go to like a secret bunker in an old mine in the middle of, where are they? Are they in like Romania? Are they in Russia?
Yeah, Russia, I think, because they're Russian soldiers at that bar or whatever.
Yeah, I'm not sure where we're at.
It was Hungary.
It's Hungary.
Okay.
Hungary? Is that where the first one was set to?
I don't know.
I had no clue.
I just know that that's where they are because when they walk in the bar, it said the subtitle said speaking Hungarian. So,
I know that the first one was filmed in Budapest, which is Hungary, right?
You and I remember Budapest very differently.
Is it Bucharest?
No.
Oh, was that a joke? Oh, sorry, I missed that one.
I was quoting the original Avengers movie.
Oh,
sorry.
Where is
I
Budapest?
apologize.
In
Budapest is oh my God.
Yeah, it's the capital of Hungary.
Okay.
There you go.
All right.
Okay.
It's delicious.
Geography. Geography,
I did.
everybody.
I didn't want to misspeak, but I thought that's.
I had a gun from there once.
So,
I did.
so they go down to this mine, and it ends up being like a lab where like vampires have been experimenting on lichens because there's like a dead lichen in the corner of the room. And Selene's like, I got to go back to the mansion because I got to go find Craven and figure all this stuff out that just happened. So you stay here, take this fake blood, make sure to drink it, because if you don't drink it, you're going to start craving human blood, and that's not good. That's not good. We don't want that to happen. And of course, Michael's going to be like, I'm fine. Like, Michael,
like, don't eat regular. He's like, don't eat regular food, you fat fuck. It'll kill you.
Well, I'm glad we're getting into this. I think I know what you're going to say. I hate Michael. I hate this great value Scott Stapp dude. He looks like Scott Stapp from Creed. I don't know why Creed wasn't on the soundtrack.
He's a Scott. He's Scott Speedman.
But this dude is so emotionless and so like wooden through both of these movies. Like, you can't tell me they couldn't have got anybody else for this character.
Yeah, he's something.
He just doesn't have any chemistry between him and Kate Beckinsale, and they have this forced romance in there. And I was like, why? Like, she's a strong, independent woman that doesn't need no man. Why you have a love scene?
Yeah.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah. She's this vampire is like hundreds of years old, and she just falls for this guy like that quick over what?
Right? He's not that, just because he's a hybrid. He's not that special.
I was just wondering if they had dinner yet.
Yeah, we don't know. There's no time to have dinner.
No,
except for
this guy
Mr.
like
Speedman when
24 hours ago.
See,
you're in love with him.
See, that's the running joke.
What, the potatoes?
No.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Falling in love in 24 hours and needing to go to dinner.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
there's a giant monster destroying the city. Would you like to go to dinner right now? Not a good time.
What's that one song that I don't like?
There's so many.
I was gonna say,
Anything
I feel like there's a
U2?
lot. Yeah, anything by U2. That sounds like a lot of songs.
Yeah.
I'm
on that boat.
You don't like Nickelback? Photographs?
No, I just met you.
Oh,
this is crazy.
Yeah, that's this
Maybe.
right now.
Yeah,
We're in love. That song should just be on the soundtrack. It probably didn't even exist when this movie came out. I don't know.
No, pretty sure it didn't.
So
it's okay.
We then go back to the mansion, and we're with Craven and his goons, and they go back because they're going to. Are they going there to try to kill Marcus before he wakes up? Okay.
Yeah, they want to kill Marcus.
So they go there, and that guy who got killed in the last movie, his body's still there, of course, and it bled into, again, the thing we saw at the end of the first one leads into this one, and I was like, good job on the continuity, because his blood drains into Marcus's casket, and then they pull it up, and he's not in there. And then he just starts murking all of Craven's guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, he comes
Awesome
out of the floor in another spot.
Oh yeah, and then he
And I forgot
pins.
Craven didn't die at the end of the first one. I was like, wait a minute, did he get away? Like,
Yep, he sure
the
did.
midst of everything. And then they waste no time wrapping up.
Oh
loose ends.
no! Yeah,
No,
they were like,
it's done.
you're like, yeah,
Bye-bye.
we're gonna make Craven this. Do we make Craven the big bad in this one? It's like, fuck no.
No,
They-
dude, this guy's an idiot.
Marcus pins his ass to the wall and then bites him to kind of get his memories about the events that
Yep.
went down in the first one, and then just freaking rips his head off, just destroys it.
Yeah.
How do we feel about Marcus's look when he comes out of the casket? Because he looks different in this scene than he does when we see him in his like bat form later, like his vampire form.
Is it kind of crusty still for being in the casket?
Mm-hmm.
Did anybody get Jeepers Creepers vibes from Marcus when he first shows
Yeah,
up? Like
the
Oh,
wings
I
and
didn't
he
even
definitely
think about
looked-
that.
looks like the
Yeah.
creeper when you first see him. Even the teeth kind
Mhm.
of give me the creeper vibes.
Yeah, practical effects for him were awesome.
Oh, so good. It's like 7
Yes.
hours of makeup for him to get into
Even
that.
like the flying stuff, like when he's flying down and landing, like that CG is kind of cool. Unless it's just wire work, it
So-
looks really cool.
The
Bats
cool
on
thing,
wires, dude.
bats
Later.
on wires, baby.
That's not why.
Yeah, we love it. Yeah, Day of the Dead did it the best.
Yep. 100%.
No, and they actually did wire work for the majority of Marcus's like landings, but the only things that were CG, of course, were the wings. So like everything
Okay.
else was practical.
Okay.
And then they
Okay.
just added the wings because of the way that the wings moved. They just couldn't get practical wings to move the way they wanted to because they were very
Make it believable.
articulated. Yeah.
Yeah, and with everything they want him to do,
Mhm.
like in the movie, it'd be hard to do.
So yeah, he's bye. So Michael doesn't drink the fake blood. He's like, I'm gonna go find some real food, and goes down to like this bar that's like right around the corner from the hiding spot.
It really is. It really is.
He walks out of the cave and he's like, hey, there's some lights over there.
Oh.
Let's go. And he goes in here, and it's, of course, how many movies have you seen where like a guy walks into a bar and everybody at the bar just is like, no one says a word. They just stare at him. There's like, you don't look like
We
you're
know
from,
you're not from here."
around here, boy. You're like, what?
You smell like an American, I guess.
What does that even smell like? Do I smell like McDonald's fries?
I'm assuming it's like gunpowder and bacon.
Oh,
What are
man.
you making?
So yeah, he goes down there and orders some potatoes, and the potatoes don't make him feel so good. Potatoes. They don't make him feel so good. Potato.
Potato poisoning.
I just need a,
mash them, stick them in a stew.
Oh, he needs potato pancakes.
oh God,
Fried 'em.
no.
Fried.
Oh,
Fried boiled
Leprechaun
rice.
3 all over again.
Hang on. Time out. If this is the way that works and potatoes, in fact, kill vampires and werewolves, then there can be no Irish vampires or werewolves, right? It just wouldn't work that way.
Wait,
I
is
think
it
it's
could
any
be one.
food. I think it's any outside food can possibly
Bullshit. It's
kill.
potatoes. Don't take that. I'm just kidding. I know it's any food. That's such horseshit. That would suck. I'd hate to be a vampire in this universe. You
yeah.
eat food?
You ever seen what we do in
love
the
potatoes.
shadows, the movie?
No. I remember it was in theaters, but I didn't.
Yeah, I mean the movie. There's a part where like the dude who just turned into a vampire, he like orders some fries and he eats a fry, and they're like, "I wouldn't do that." He's like, "Well, what's the worst that could happen?" And then it like cuts to him like just looks like a waterfall, just vomit, just spewing out of it. It's all blood, and he's like, "You shouldn't have ate the fries."
Yeah. Fair enough.
Yeah, that
I'd
sounds
cry.
awful. I love
Potatoes.
I love
and
food.
bread,
I love food
cheese.
too
Oh,
much.
Only that all blood diet you have to be on.
Gross.
Mhm.
So, yeah, he eats the potatoes, doesn't do him so well. He pukes everywhere. Then he gets into a fight with a bunch of the patrons because he threw up. I was very confused.
Yeah,
Oh,
leave
'cause
me
he was-
alone. He's
well, he
throwing
was
up
sitting
while
there.
yelling at
Yeah, he's like, get the fuck away from me. And he just fights people. And then he leaves.
He does. It's true. He does just up
He
and leave.
just leaves.
See you
getting
later,
shot
Scott.
like 10 times.
They chased him because
Yeah.
he didn't leave a tip.
Yeah.
Fucking
You
Americans.
forgot to leave a tip.
You sons of
Well,
bitches.
hey, you know, actually,
I
no.
don't know. I
It'd be
think
the other way around. I
because he left a tip.
because he left a tip.
Because
American.
there's some
You
countries
son of
over
a
there
bitch,
you
we
don't
accept
tip.
tips. Yes.
Oh, really?
They pay
I didn't know that was a thing.
people accordingly.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I
didn't know
digress. So there's a man who
A
is.
man?
Oh,
There's a man.
There's a man.
I'm a man.
Well, he was married.
the
or
Muffin
she was
Man?
Married to the Muffin Man.
The Muffin Man? The one who lives on Drury Lane?
Sorry.
Not to come drop buttons.
Nobody has shown.
Sorry.
You're a monster.
It's so good.
Oh, man.
Keep going. No, I'll tell you at the end. Go.
Let's just tie in Shrek characters into Underworld Evolution.
Why not? Fuck it. Why not?
So this man is shown the train incident, the one that Amelia was on in the first one.
Oh.
And they talk about the fact of like Craven's men were there, but they didn't do anything to stop it when the Lycans attacked. So there's something fishy about that, but not knowing that Craven's out of the picture, so who gives a shit?
Right?
And Marcus just sets the mansion ablaze and then just pieces out.
Pretty much.
Yeah. Because we just get a.
And he even says like it wasn't his coven to begin with or whatever. It's like, then why was he there? He was buried. Like he was supposed to be the next ruler before they resurrected Victor by accident. Well, not by accident. She did it unprovoked.
she did it on purpose.
Fair.
Marcus was supposed to be the one that was resurrected next instead of Victor.
Yep.
So we get to see Marcus in his like bat form because of we find out in the beginning of the movie he was the first ever vampire, so that's why he looks like a bat when he is in this form. Like he is able to transform from this bat form into just a regular guy, but he's able to use his wings even in his human form. Like he's able to do a lot more than, because like Victor, we don't see a lot from Victor in the first one. Like he wakes up, he's got all those tubes in his back that pumps him full of blood, and then like eventually throughout the movie he becomes more human like, where like Marcus is like able to just transform on command, and he really doesn't have like a true form. I guess this bat form is his true form. It looks really cool though. I like literally his got the big bat ears, but it's like morphed into his head instead of them being ears.
Like big upturned snout and everything.
Yeah.
Too.
Well, that was the thing is I kind of was like, does he like slowly become this bat thing? Because like when we see him confronting Craven, he's got a regular nose. He's got the sharp teeth, but he's got the ears are kind of those bat ears. But then when you see him again, he's got that full bat nose too, the one that's like squished up and everything. So it's like, does he evolve slowly back into this bat form, or was this just a kind of like the makeup team was just like, whatever, who cares?
Maybe it's his full strength. Like the more blood he drinks, the more powerful he gets.
Well, I think what you're saying is correct, because since he is one of the original Corvinus group, he's a hybrid like Speedman is, like Scott Speedman, because he got the werewolf blood. But also, like Victor, he was kind of a scraggly fuck when he came out of the tomb for a while.
Mm-hmm.
And I think he was just kind of like his body was adapting to everything going on. I'm assuming that's why he looked different. But
I also would like to know kind of the backstory of why these leading vampires, these elders, have to be put to sleep or like into hibernation. It's really not explained in that. Like we see all three of them in the beginning of the movie, right? And they're all vampires. They're like, none of them are sleeping yet. So was this just a rule? They were just like, all right, well, only one of us has got to be awake. Like everybody else, you're gonna go sleep.
It's
like,
only fair.
I wonder if it's a political thing. Since
maybe
that's a big part of this, like Victor was talking about. He's all about the rules and what's in the book in the first movie and all that stuff.
So he goes to that hideout from the first one, and he kind of is able to like see a flashback of the events that happened there between Selene Michael and then all the vampire people that Craven sent are the ones that, or maybe was it the Lycan attack? No, it was with the Lycan attack at that hideout in the first one. We're back with that guy who saw the surveillance tape before, and he is trying to find that amulet that was wrapped around Lucian's neck, but it's not there. But then he's like, I heard a story about this. And he opens up Victor's chest and he pulls out this device, which you later find out is just another key to open up William's like prison.
Yep, it's a key within a key.
Yeah,
I want to know the process of getting that installed. Like that would have sucked.
So right, Victor, sit back. We're gonna have to crack your ribs open a few times. Like this is medieval times here, right? I mean, they're vampires, so it's not like they immediately die. But yeah, that.
Well, I mean, I don't know. They immediately fucking die from everything else. Listen, true. I respect this movie for making the immortals like very killable. That are not like super OP for the most part. But like, and I know it's when it's werewolves fighting vampires, it's like different. It's like if a human was involved, they wouldn't do jack and shit, except for when Scott Speedman gets shot. But that's beside the point. The man was low on potato-ium, whatever mineral he needs for potatoes. Fuck, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know.
You need that potato-ium.
I like that the stuff they like introduce within the movie that's not normally within like werewolf or Dracula lore. Like they incorporate new things like how silver kills werewolves. Where they put like a liquid silver in the bullet so it goes into their bloodstream so they can't pull it out and stuff. They talk about that in the first one. And then like they put the UV stuff in the bullets to kill vampires. Like that's super interesting. We haven't really seen that before.
Which we only see used once.
Yeah, you see the bullets a bunch of times in this one, but they never talk about it or really use them too much.
You find out who made them. You find out who made them, and that's about it. I mean, to be honest, we see the bullet used once in the first one, and we see the silver infused ones used a couple times, but they're not used much in this one. Like that, we don't see either one. It's like that's kind of one of my dislikes about this franchise so far is like when vampires and werewolves die in this, it's just they just die. They just fall and he's dead now. Where like, when you watch Blade, when Blade would shoot a vampire, he would literally like disintegrate.
Like bust.
Yeah. Like I wanted something similar, like not the same exact way of dying, but like I would have loved if like a werewolf got shot with silver and he just like, it starts like breaking him down. Kind of like from the inside out.
Oozing out of his veins.
Oh yeah, that would be super cool. Because like,
go ahead.
I would just say, even the way we saw it in the first one, it's just the veins, and it's like it's fine. It's just
you kind of saw it in the beginning of the first one, wherever they shot the one vampire dude with the UV bullet, and you see like the light coming out of his eyes and his mouth. That's the only time they ever do it in the movie.
Yep.
It's like, what the hell?
Sure is.
But we were robbed of a Blade Underworld crossover, by the way. Like, how did this 100%. Not happen?
It was supposed to. It just didn't.
Like that would have been amazing. Like you could have easily fit Blade into this storyline somewhere.
Yeah,
well,
100%.
I think it was because of Blade Trinity and how it didn't perform well, and I think Wesley Snipes was kind of done with the whole thing. So,
Hollywood was done with Wesley Snipes.
Yeah,
that could be it too.
Yeah, they're like, I think it'd be better if we just made sequels to Underworld instead of trying to force Blade into this, because
it would have worked right after this, though. Like with the ending and everything, with like you Daywalker, you hunt vampires with another Daywalker and everything. That would be cool.
That'd been really cool. So yeah, Marcus.
She doesn't sparkle.
No,
it's true. She doesn't.
Only
true
one
facts.
type of vampire sparkles. So Marcus finds Michael, and I kind of don't remember how this goes. But yeah, Michael leaves the hideout and goes to run. Oh, we already did this. I guess I jumped ahead a little bit on the bar part, but we get this cool scene though where he's at the bar and then they go to Selene walking through the woods, and then you see like Marcus fly over her, and she's like, "Well, I guess I gotta go back."
Yep,
I can't.
She's about to hit the fan.
Yeah. This isn't good. So yeah, Michael starts to change. He's chased through the woods after being shot a shit ton of times at the bar. it's almost sunrise, and we get Selene doing her signature superhero jump with the landing off of a cliff to then beat the shit out of a bunch of dudes.
Superhero
Regular
pose.
dudes.
Yeah. And Michael's in bad shape, and then she's like, drink me, big
Which
boy.
I didn't understand. There's literally like 6 bodies around here that you can just grab one and be like, hey, drink the blood of this dude.
He's dead. It's spoiled now. It's like, what? He's
Nobody's
just
gonna
died. It can't be
Nobody's
bad
gonna know.
yet. He's like,
just
nope.
use your own blood.
It's like vampire rules. If somebody dies, it's bad right from the start. And you're like, I don't think that's how that works, but okay, I'll believe you.
Look at this.
More
this
iron,
human,
more
my
iron,
God.
not good.
Right? Look at this human. My God, he's spoiled. I think he's all right.
He's still breathing.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think he's still breathing.
right.
Bad.
Oh my
I like
goodness. I respect the hell out of oh god, the hell is her name? Oh, Kate Beckinsale. She did like the majority of her own stunts in this, which is pretty impressive.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah,
I have a question
yeah,
because of the scene
coming
that
up.
happens between them.
Yeah, somebody's coming up.
I think they both do.
Woohoo!
The fact that she is in this with, I'm pretty sure she has no undergarments on. I want to know how much she, one, sweated, and if she could probably got a horrible yeast infection from not wearing any undergarments.
Yeah, unfortunately, the behind the scenes didn't tell us any of this information. So
You mean in like the black suit, like the spandex suit, or
she had to be sweating something hard if she's doing her own stunts.
Something was hard, all right.
Well,
Oh,
on his side, not hers.
Scott Dickman. Except he doesn't know how to fucking use it right.
Oh my
Somebody
god, we're
does
gonna
not-
get to it. We're gonna get to it.
Oh,
Don't jump ahead yet. Oh
Kate
man.
Beckinsale is like the best part of these movies, though. Like even like actor wise, like
Mhm.
like she was acting the hell out of this. Like you can believe her. Where it's like this other the Scott Stapp dude, not good at all. Even Bill Nighy, I forget how you
yeah.
pronounce his name. He's good, but like he overacts. Like he's hamming it up at certain points too.
Dude, that's
It's like,
awesome.
He knows what movie
having
he's
the
in.
time of his
Exactly.
He is
life.
having a blast. Anytime he talks about this movie behind the scenes, he's always got a smile on his face. Like he's having an absolute blast with this.
Y'all
And then-
making another Underworld movie? I'll come
He's like,
back.
He's like, this is way more fun than being in this ridiculous mocap suit to be Davy Jones in the Pirates of the Caribbean movies. Which
oh my
I
God, I
love.
forgot that was him.
I love Davy Jones in those movies, but like he does not enjoy that role because he doesn't like being in the mocap suit. He says he looks so ridiculous. Everybody around him is dressed as pirates, and he's dressed in this like gray and white mocap suit.
Yeah.
But he's so
But it
good.
would be difficult to have, tentacles move all the time.
That's true. But yeah, Marcus shows up, and that's not good. He's a little
Hi,
pissed
Marcus.
off. He's like, Selene, you've done some bad stuff, and you need to pay for doing all this bad stuff. And she's like, oh, okay. And Michael's like, I'm fully charged now. And then he attacks Marcus, and this is like the first of 4 fights we're gonna see between these two characters.
Oh yeah, they do not let up.
I also like at the end of towards the end of the first one where they're like leading into the second one. She's like, "We'll go back. We'll make Marcus up. He'll understand how to settle this whole thing, and everything will be good." And it's like that is the complete opposite of what's going to
Yeah.
happen. Marcus
He's like,
isn't going to
I'm
understand a
kill you
damn
now.
thing.
He doesn't know what's happening, and he doesn't care. He just wants to find his brother. He doesn't give a shit about anybody else.
Yeah.
So the sun is starting to rise. So they're like, we got to get you. He's talking because I guess Michael's not affected by the sun because he's a hybrid.
No, he's
So-
better. He's fine.
Yeah, he's like, I got to get you to somewhere safe. We get this really cool chase where they're in this like truck and Marcus
Yes.
is flying around. Most of this is practical, by the way, and it's really fucking
It was
cool.
awesome.
Slowest fucking truck that they
Dude.
could. She could run faster than this truck.
That's what I said. This dude, like, she pulls this dude out. This like Hungarian dude. It's like it's the same dude
the
from the
Creeper's
beginning of
truck.
Texas or the end of Texas Chainsaw Massacre, but it's a Hungarian guy, and he's running to this day. because he never got his truck back. But they picked the slowest fucking truck where she's got to go through like 18 million gears, but it's fine. I get it. It works for the scene. Yeah.
Grinding up.
I don't actually know how to drive this. This was a bad idea. We should have picked the car.
I never learned stick. It's not my job.
So yeah, it's a really cool fight. Like him like bashing on the windows when she's like trying to steer, and like it's really cool because it's literally a stuntman on like a crane that's like suspended off the back of this truck, and it's like swinging him around. And even the tackle, like when Marcus tackles Michael into the back of the truck, that's all practical of him doing that. So I thought it was really cool. The only thing that was added were the wings. And I
So cool.
Yeah, really, really awesome to see.
Yeah, I like whenever like she smashes him into the cliff side, and then he like, falls into the road.
His
and when he
wings.
stands up, you can see like his wings, like are like attaching, like the broken parts are like reattaching.
Yes,
and
that's
so
cool.
Again, reminding me of the creeper from Jeepers Creepers.
Yeah.
Like when he gets hit by the car multiple times and he gets up and his wings just like.
Well, he does put a trench coat on later.
That's very true.
Yeah, he does.
He does.
Saying
He just needs a hat.
that's his other brother. This
And
is
just get that
adopted
truck
brother.
she was using as the creeper
Yeah.
wagon or
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah,
That's all you need.
so what was it? Hold on. Marcus got bit by a vampire.
Yeah.
Was
No,
William got bit-
no. They were born that way.
No.
Yeah.
Well, the legend is they got bit by a bat.
Yeah, he got bit by a bat.
William was bit
William
by
was
a
bit by a
wolf.
wolf. Yeah.
Yeah, and then his adopted brother, who's the creeper, got bit by a pedophile.
He was a farmer.
I mean, the creeper was created by one, so.
There you
Yep.
go. That's what I'm talking about.
So
Sorry, go ahead. Different movie.
yeah, so they barely make it. She's like getting hit by the sun. It's burning her. You actually seeing the effects of the sun on the vampires? I don't think we've seen this yet.
No,
No,
we haven't.
Where a
That's pretty
vampire
cool.
getting affected by sunlight.
One time, it was in the flashback of the original one. I'm pretty sure where the dude just
Yeah.
like the lady Sonia just.
Oh yeah,
shows
yeah,
up.
yeah.
You
We
see it real quick.
right,
Mhm.
yeah. So they get to like a truck or to like this huge warehouse. They hide in like a storage crate, and Scott's being manly man. He's like fixing up a car. He's like doing things. He's like covering up the truck and stuff and being man.
Well, that was the worst.
Paint.
Him covering
I'm
the
sorry, the
windows with
paint.
paint.
Yeah,
Yes.
Like that's gonna take forever because he's just throwing it.
yeah.
He
It's not going
uses
to
3
cover
cans
every
of paint.
bit. What a
And it's just the
waste.
one window. What about all the other windows around this warehouse?
Exactly. There's only one window there,
Yeah.
Oh man.
Did that make you feel like you were in a music video?
Yes.
Like
Sure
him just
does.
his hair? Can you take me higher?
Oh god. But yeah, he's like I love the whole thing where he like goes, he's like, let me see. He like goes, I love this whole thing where he goes to get a first aid kit and he comes back, he's like, let me see you. And she's like, I'm healed up, bitch. Get away from me.
He rips the whole thing off the wall.
does.
You can just
I was like,
open
well,
his
that was a
eye.
little overkill. He
And
just
it
takes
doesn't-
the whole thing. Like,
And it doesn't go anywhere because she's already all better.
I guess I didn't need this.
Yeah. And then it's like, you want to have sex now? And she's
Yeah,
like,
time to bone
yes.
now.
And it's like slows unzip. But this, I haven't seen this movie in so long, and I'm just watching this going, it's not even, what is it? Where is his dick right now? Why is his waist at her belly button, bro? Like,
I don't think
This
this
is-
intimacy
Wrong hole,
coordinator
sir.
has
Wrong
ever
hole.
had sex before.
We're gonna do this. It's gonna look artistic. Do what?
They're not doing anything. They're just kind of hovering over top of her.
so I guess originally there was supposed to be an extended version of this scene where you actually, there was more nudity, and like you were actually supposed to see a lot of Selene and
Full
Michael.
penetration.
I don't think it went that far, but I guess Kate Beckinsale was like, no. You can see certain things, but we're not going
Yeah.
that far. And so she
Classic
fought it.
enough.
Like I guess it was like up to the end. They had the scene, the extended version of the scene, and then she was like, "You better not." Like she's and
Director's
the
like,
funny
"It's
thing is, the
vital to the
director is her
story."
husband.
Yeah.
So it's like,
it's vital to the story.
yeah, it's not. By the way, at least
knows it was a
in
bad
this movie,
scene.
it's not. Yeah,
Going back to the Resident Evil thing, because isn't Mila Jovovich married to
Paul W. Sanderson.
Paul?
yeah,
Yeah, it's same kind of thing.
yeah. yeah, this sex scene is it's just weird. It's just like
Why?
I'm watching it like what is happening? What is he
It
doing?
feels so out of place.
Where is it going? Is he trying? Does he
Her
not?
belly-
Did
it's
no
her belly
one
button.
teach
Long
him
hole.
how
Yeah.
to do it?
Well, like
Well,
it just
listen.
doesn't further the story in any way. Like maybe if you were like at the end, we're gonna have some twist where like, oh, she's pregnant or something. Maybe, but like,
I mean,
it
that could
goes
be a thing in
nowhere.
the sequel. I
Maybe. I haven't
wonder if
seen the
that's going to be a
sequels, but-
thing in the fourth one.
But like, I don't buy this relationship between the two.
It's just
It's so forced.
This
But
must
you'll-
have been with the director of. Oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna say we can't have a sex scene without it being in slow motion.
Yes, and you don't see anything.
No.
Just weird positioning. So if you're gonna do it like whoever thought of this sex scene, whoever wrote it, whoever original concept was it must have talked to the motherfucker who made the Eternals movie. It's like, dude, you should do this too. Like, why?
Maybe it was the director since it was her husband. Maybe he's like, okay, we have to have a sex scene, but I don't want him to actually look like he's having sex with my wife. I want him like hovering above her. No kissing, really.
Dude's just a cuck, man. That's
Even
all
though they're
he is.
making out at the end of this movie, like full on,
Yeah.
like. Oh man,
Weird.
I love that Marcus sleeps like a bat, hanging upside
Yeah.
down. He puts his
You do,
wings
you
over his
do.
head. And thought that was pretty cool. So these Russian soldiers, I'm guessing these were the same guys that were at that bar earlier that Michael fights. They seem like the same
Maybe.
guys. They find the
Oh, yeah,
lab.
it does look like.
They find the lab and they go in there, and then right as they find the lab, that task force shows up and they're like, "Get out of here!" They like slap the shit out of these dudes, throw them out in the snow, and then blow the lab up.
I mean, they were they were courteous enough to save their lives. They could have just
True.
blown them up with inside the
They
base.
didn't move them far from the opening of the
No.
mine. They're just like 20 feet. That should be far enough.
This is all you get.
This one
You're lucky
dude
you
just
get that.
flies like 50 feet after it blows up. He'll be fine. He's got like he looks like
Fuck it
Harvey
off.
Dent. Ah!
Yeah.
Rachel.
A lot of origin stories in this
Yeah.
movie.
For starts, dude.
For
For starts.
characters that aren't even part of this universe. It's wild.
Yep.
So Selene picks up the amulet that she got from Lucian. Or is it Lucian or is it Lucian? Is it
Lucian, I think.
Lucian? Okay. I think I asked this in the last episode, but I'll probably ask it
All right.
again because I know he shows up in the prequel. She presses a button in the middle and it opens up the amulet, and then it like sends her into a flashback, and it just shows her holding it like she actually had it in possession. And then you find out that her father was the one who built William's tomb or built William's prison,
Yes.
and ultimately is the reason why her parents end up getting killed. It was all so it all like everything is kind of falling into place.
Yeah, it's another continuing thread from the first movie.
Yeah.
Talking about, Victor betraying her and everything.
And so they need to find out some information. So they're like, well, we could go hang out with the vampire historian. He was like a historian for the Covens. And I guess Selene exiled him like 300 years ago. And his name
By
is
Victor's order. She was just the one to do it.
right. And his name is Tanis. So they go to Tanis's where it's supposed to be. She thinks it's like a prison because he's been there for 300 years in exile. So she thinks like he's just there alone. It's a prison like building. It's literally like a monastery built into a mountain, which was done on purpose because when they were trying to figure out how to design like a monastery, they didn't have enough money to actually build an actual building. So they're like, why don't we just slap something on the side of a mountain and just say it's built into the mountain? Then it saved them a
That
bunch of
works.
money. All they had to do was design that cross that's on the outside.
Mm-hmm.
But guess what? Tanis is just having a good old time. He's having a small little orgy in there. We get to see our first set of boobs in this franchise.
Yep. That is. Yep.
And you get the whole thing where like Selene is like, I don't remember that door being closed. And it's like, well, when's the last time you were here? Like, I feel like you don't just hang out with Tanis all the time. So the fact that you're
Well,
like, this
right.
door being
Well,
closed is very
it was like
odd.
It was like a big ass gate.
Yeah.
they had to go through. And she's like, I don't remember that gate being here before. And there were a lot of other things she doesn't remember either.
Yeah.
that
It's
he
like,
has
well,
set
No
up.
kid.
when was the last time you were there? I digress. She
I
goes,
think it was like 300 years. I
yeah,
think they said
300
he's been
years. So
exiled.
like, that's a long time.
I don't think it's her job to go and check on him. Like
Yeah.
she exiles it. They send other vampires to check on his stupid ass. That's
He's
it.
exiled.
Yeah. So they go in there and it's a trap. He's got cameras. He sees her, sends her into a trap door. Then you find out that he has lichen guards that are like patrolling the area. One of them attacks Michael. Michael, of course, changes. And I do love, though, where he grabs the chain of the one lichen and just uses him, like just swings him into the side of the car.
Yep.
Mhm.
Yep.
But we get the really cool scene in the tunnel where Selene is trying to make her way through, and she can hear the lichens coming from both directions. She's able to kill them both. I do like the transition from seeing them in CG form, and then when she kills them and they slide, they turn into practical lichens.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yep.
And then Michael drops down into the tunnel. He fights a lichen. We get his first freaking head rip in this one. Just completely
dude.
just rips off the top jaw of this one lichen. You're like, God damn,
That's his finisher.
that is.
It is. Yep. It's in the violence is ramped up.
Yes.
Yeah. This one.
Oh, 100%. So yeah, they survive the tunnels. They go and see Tanis, and the first thing you find out about him is that he's the one who created the UV rounds. So she's like, so what, you're creating weapons to kill your own kind? He's like, I just make things because it makes me money. Like, and she's like, well, where the hell did you get all these lichens? And he's like, well, I had a deal with Lucian. And so if I gave him the UV rounds, he would give me lichen guards. And so it's like, it was him. It was Craven. Like, vampires didn't give a shit. Like, especially that. Like,
it's all about-
what is this guy gonna do? Like, Tanis has literally been exiled for 300 years. He's like, I don't fucking care. You guys exiled me, so fuck you, vampires.
What else am I supposed to be doing here? I have nothing to do.
I don't know where these women came from, but
That was another gift from Lucian, probably.
oh, poor ladies are just like, oh,
But they were vampires, I'm pretty sure.
yeah, they were.
They were.
They
Yep.
tried attacking the main girl, and she ended up bitch slapping them like
Oh,
crazy.
yeah. She like bitch slaps her into a wall, just like,
Yeah.
oh no.
Celeste. I don't know why I'm misremembering her name.
I'm all like, vampires just get off by like biting each other too, which is always a weird thing. Like, I don't know.
Yeah,
Hey, we
I
don't
noticed
teach
that
shame.
too.
So we're back with Marcus, and we get this really cool shot of Marcus flying into a barn. And then it shows that, like, because he can't get any people to drink from, he drinks from horses. He's literally freaking just draining this one horse.
Dude, I thought this was a flashback.
Nope, this is
At
real
first,
time.
I was like, oh,
Yeah.
this is a flashback. I'm like, nope, we're modern day. It's Marcus.
Yeah.
I was like, where are we at again?
But why? So this is all happening while Tanis is kind of telling them the history about Victor that Selene doesn't even know. So Victor wasn't born a vampire. Victor was the king of the area of like the land where Marcus was from and all that stuff. And he was dying, and he knew what Marcus was, and pretty much made a deal with him, like, turn me, because I'm dying. And so that's how Victor becomes a vampire. And then it kind of just, and then he literally made Marcus turn everyone in his military into vampires to make his army stronger, and then he could rule forever. But
Well, yeah, they wanted to stop the lichens too.
yeah,
That was part of the deal.
that too. Because William was doing the same thing with lichens. He was turning a bunch of people into lichens, creating this lichen army. But he also was kind of just because they said that they're like, savage animals. Like William was too. Like there was no order with William. He was just going around biting people, and he didn't really have an army. He just, like, the lichens would just, the ones that he would turn would just follow him wherever he went. It was just like a pack of wolves. where at least the vampires, they had some sort of order to a degree. Victor still had like the upper hand because of his power and influence. But yeah, Marcus literally turns everybody. He turns Amelia, like pretty much the two other elders were turned by Marcus. So Marcus is like the king of the vampires. And Selene didn't know this. She thought Victor was a vampire the whole time. And Selene, she follows. So this is where she finds out that her dad was the one that built William's prison, and that the medallion that she has is the key to opening it. And this is what
blade she has on her neck.
Yeah, literally. And this will, because one of them opens up a gate to his prison, and then this opens the actual prison itself. And her blood knows where the prison is because she has her father's blood in her.
She was there when it was being built. That's why she can remember.
Oh, right, because her blood has memories. Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Which I think is kind of interesting. We haven't had that as like a vampire lore type thing. As far as drinking other people's blood, you can see their memories and stuff. It's kind of interesting. It's in their DNA.
Yeah, it is pretty cool.
It works.
I mean, that's what we get with Marcus biting Craven in the beginning, where he like gets all the he literally gets a previously on Underworld moment by biting Craven. Then he's like, "Oh, you're useless and you're a piece of shit. So see ya."
Last time on Dragon Ball Z.
Yeah. And the final thing that Tanis tells her is like, "Hey, you need to go see somebody named Lorenz Macarlo." And she's like, "Okay." So they leave, and then Marcus shows up and says hello to Tanis. And you find out that the thing that guy from earlier took out of Victor's chest was another key. I do love, like, for one, you get to see Marcus in his human form.
Yep.
I mean, you saw him in the beginning in his human form, but like this is the first time we get to see him like in modern times. And I love when he's like sitting at the table and Tanis is on the other side of the table and he grabs him with his wings and pulls him, which is practical. They actually, so they used wire work to pull him across the table, and then they actually had practical wingtips, like looking like they're jabbed into his shoulders while he's having the conversation. But when the pulling effect, they actually used CGI for the wings to pull him in, and then they changed it over to practical.
I'm not sure I understand why vampires can kill other vampires just by biting them, though. I don't really understand that aspect of it.
I mean, it must be the fact that he is like the OG vampire. Yeah, where he must have some sort of extra power that we just don't understand, or it's not really explained to us.
Sticks him with his wing, and then he bites him to get his memories, and then he's just dead after that.
Yeah.
Like, okay. Because I mean, he killed Craven with a swipe. He swiped his head off, but he just ended up biting him, and that was it.
Did we actually see him die, or did it just cut?
I mean, he falls forward.
Yeah,
like he's dead.
Okay. Eyes wide open, no movement, nothing like that.
All right. Yeah, I wasn't sure if it was just like a
very unceremonious.
He gets attacked, and then it's like cut, and then okay. So they go to visit Lorenz, and while they're talking to him, they find out that's not his real name. He is actually Alexander Corvinus, who is the father of the vampires and Lycan. He's the father of William and Marcus. And pretty much he doesn't agree with anything either of them do. He doesn't like that the vampires and the Lycans have gotten to the point that they're at, but he won't stop it because they're his kids. And I was like, all right.
But he'll do everything in his power to cover up everything they're doing from the outside world. So he'll do everything else but kill his own two sons to end it. And then he wouldn't have to worry about anything.
Oh, it's one of those things like, well, I won't do it, but if you do it, I won't be upset about it.
But you're not powerful enough to do it. So you kind of need my help, and I'm not going to help you.
Yeah, I'm not going to help you kill my kids.
That sounds about
until I'm dying, and then I will let you be powerful.
And that's why I was
going to keep bailing him out of jail.
And that's why I was kind of confused about the beginning of the movie, where they're like, Victor and them were like, yeah, we're going to lock him up for good. And it was like, with the way that they see things, like if Marcus died, they assume that everybody that he turned would die because he's the one that turned him.
Mm-hmm.
But And if they kill William, then everybody that's a Lycan that was turned by him would die. So why don't they just kill William? And then, by their theory, all the Lycans would just be dead, and they wouldn't have to worry about him anymore.
Yeah.
So they keep him alive.
I
don't know.
I think it was literally the fact of Victor wanted to keep his word, I guess, to not kill William.
Brother alive.
But also, he might have been afraid that if he killed William, then maybe Marcus would have taken his own life, and then it would have killed them all based on what they believe would happen. Because the thing is it's all myth, right? The fact of like if the vampire that bites you dies, then you die, right? Or well, we don't actually see that go into effect. It's just right, which it's
Vic. Good,
but and then that's usually how it goes with a lot of vampire stories, right? Even Dracula, it's like when Dracula dies, when Dracula dies, all of the people that he bit and turned would end up dying too.
Yeah. And they were talking about like the rules at the beginning. And it was funny because like Marcus is the first vampire and Victor's talking about like, well, these are the rules. And I was like, well, who made the rules? They must have made the rules. There were no other rules. He's the first
vampire. He should be the one being like, all right, well, since I'm number one here, I'm going to come up with some rules here. Yeah. Like, how do you know him, Victor? I just turned you last week.
Victor's all cocky, like if you even say his name again, that is grounds for I'm gonna go out and kill him. And it's like, who do you think you are? Like, I'm the one that saved your life, buddy.
That's the thing is he talks about, and I think they mention it in the movie, and I could have misheard or be thinking of this wrong, but while there's no proof of what you talked, if you kill Marcus, it would kill everybody else, but Victor's didn't want to take that chance. Like it's a rumor or something he had heard, but he didn't want to chance it because if he did, he would lose all of his power.
Yeah, so but Victor talking mad heavy for a dude that his life was in Marcus's hands, pretty much.
Exactly. Well, that's the thing is, I think it's the whole like you get a gift from somebody and then you end up abusing it. And the person that gave it to you, you subjugate in some way, shape, or form, or do something horrible to them, kind of deal.
So Marcus shows up. He fights Michael again. This time he kills him, like impales him on a pipe.
I was so happy.
I
was like,
this is it. He got poked by a stick.
Michael's gone.
Yeah. And then he like pins Selene up on this pole and then starts drinking her blood, like from a suspended spot there.
Yeah. He like gets her by her wrist and by her leg.
Yeah. He's just like,
damn.
It's like a metal concert.
I think the CG where you go inside of their bodies is super cool in these two movies.
Oh, the one where it like shows the transformation from the inside where like the ribs are separating and
moving and stuff. Yeah, it was really
the
cool.
heart beating. Yeah. It's interesting. So Marcus gets Victor's key because he attacks his dad and kills him. At least you think he does, but then the Alexander's like guys come in. They're like to Selene after she's like, "No, Michael, you're dead." Sad moment, right? They're like, "Hey, Alexander wants to see you," and they go up there, and he's sitting there like,
he fell on his keys. Oh, he doesn't have his life alert bracelet. I'm falling and I can't get up.
It's like
not dead, just very much retired, like Loomis from Part 6.
Bring out your dead. I'm not dead yet.
I'm not dead yet.
It's like that. It's like that episode of The Office where Andy is doing a dance movie, does the splits, and his keys like rip his scrotum.
Oh, got some more exposition for you. I can't die yet.
So the last thing that Alexander does before he dies, he's like, "All right, remember that thing I said before where I wasn't going to make you powerful because I didn't want you to kill my kids? Well, I'm dying now. My son, he stabbed me a lot and I'm dying. I'll let you drink my blood so you can become powerful enough to kill."
That was the straw that broke the camel's back. I want him dead now.
That son of a bitch stabbed me not once, but twice. He dug a sword deep into my belly.
That was enough.
And they could have fixed him. Like, let me get the kit. He's like, don't, no kits.
I think he just wanted to die.
Yeah. He's lived for a long time.
I was going to say, yeah, he's been alive for centuries, man. Like, it gets to the point where you're just like, Okay, I think it's it. I'm kind of over
Yeah.
this.
Well, Celine's
went
like,
off the
"Would you
ride,
want me
man.
to have your power? Like, you're strong enough. You could have beat him." And I was like, "I don't think this dude's strong enough to do anything. I don't think he was going to be fighting anybody."
But it was also the point of like even with what was happening, he was never going to kill his kids. He was never going to
No.
attempt to kill his kids.
No.
So
You could.
again, like I said before, if you do it,
Okay.
if
I was
I
just
do it,
intrigued,
no.
What kind of power does this dude have that he's strong enough he could kill his kid? You know, like, it's
I
crazy.
don't know.
He just
Is
seems
he
like
some sort of
just an immortal
god?
person.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, he's. I mean, they said he was the original. I talked about in the first movies where he got the bubonic plague, but it didn't kill him. Like his body could adapt to anything.
Yeah.
He was just
And I
like
think that's
immortal,
it.
but like I didn't
And
know
it's
if he had any like powers or whatever. You know.
I think it's just like there
Strength.
seems to be a thing with the vampires and the werewolves. Like the longer you're alive, like the stronger you inherently are.
Also,
Or that seems to be.
did the kids get bit by these animals after they were born? Like, were they just like wandering through the woods and like Marcus got like a bat just showed up, lands on Marcus and just bites him, and then like 5 minutes later they're walking through like, that bat really bit me.
You normally
and
stay
then
the same age if you're a vampire, right?
Oh, that's true.
So yeah, they would have to be older, I guess.
Interesting. I wonder if they're going to touch on that in the prequel.
Maybe.
So yeah, Selene drinks his blood. Now she's powerful lady.
Super vampire.
Yep. Alexander blows up the boat that he's on. It's all done with miniatures. This is great. I loved watching the.
He takes a bunch of those bombs.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah. They're neat.
Yeah.
Like the
Which
little
we
gas
saw
stuff that
before.
comes out the
Yeah.
side.
Yeah.
It was funny because like the way he like turned on the first one, it was holding in his hand. I was like, it would be funny if it like started spraying that stuff. And it hit some of the thing. But no, he puts it on a stack of other ones.
You just see his face like evaporate, like Linda Hamilton at the end of T2. It's like,
Yeah.
holding onto the fence. Oh. So Marcus finds this castle, or this remnants of a castle, and he finds where William is being imprisoned. Selene and the group, Alexander's group, also find the castle around the same time, because that's usually how it works. And,
Of course.
and it's always in the middle of like the freaking Himalayas. It's just a castle and mountains everywhere. No other building or anything around.
Hey, this castle's awesome.
I mean, it's really
It is
cool.
great.
I love these Gothic castles. But I mean, it makes sense. They're literally hiding the first lichen. Like, they got to find someplace secluded, right?
Yeah.
It's next door to Bill. I remember there was some weird noises happening in his basement. Might be a werewolf.
You
I
can't
don't
even
know.
get to the entrance without going under the water now.
Yeah.
Like, overflowing and everything.
He'd be there forever if I had to go underwater. Sorry.
You just need, what's his name from Deep Rising?
Yeah.
Can you just get asthma?
Yeah. Joey.
Yeah.
Joey. What's his name? Damn it. Pontucci.
Yep. But this reminds me because of the fact that you have to go under the water to get into this castle. Remember, they have to go into the water to get to the other side of that room. And he asked the most random question ever.
And then Alien Resurrection did it, and I don't know which one did it first, but Deep Rising did it better.
They both.
Sorry,
I think Alien Resurrection came out before, but yeah, who knows? Who cares? And Selene just swan dives out of this helicopter. By the way, they're like, all right, well, this is where we gotta go. She just fucking dive out of the helicopter. She doesn't just jump. She's just like, she's got the perfect form as she jumps out. You're like, damn.
They got to do the dive.
Yeah. Wait, ma'am, it's not safe. Fuck you and your rules. Out the door.
Screw the rules. I have green.
There's no rules.
So William is released. He unlocks his cool little prison thing. It kind of looks like Iron Maiden.
Mm-hmm.
And he opens it. Love William being a complete practical like werewolf here. He attacks Marcus, and Marcus is like, it's me, it's your brother. And I'm like, he's a full fucking werewolf. Is he really understanding this? I guess a little bit.
Who you are.
Yeah. He's like, I want to eat you. I've been locked in this thing for like 400 years.
I just want some potatoes.
Actually, it's longer than that. The beginning of the movie takes place in 1202. So that means it was like 800 years. This dude is just chilling.
Got some potatoes
chain.
around here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How does he survive? Like, I guess they like do the first werewolf and vampire not have to eat a lot? Like, what was he eating? Were they feeding him? Was there guards here originally that were just like, all right, here's give him a fucking slab of meat?
Open up a little door inside
Yeah.
of the coffin and
He
just
just-
shove meat in there.
Just opening his mouth.
Yeah. They figured out IVs.
So Selene is like wandering through one of the hallways and she sees a drawing of like a sun. And I'm like, what is this? Does anybody know what the sun means? I know it's a drawing she drew, right? When she was a kid.
Mm-hmm.
Does it mean anything? Is it like symbolic for something? Did I miss?
I don't. It's just supposed to be a flashback. Like, look at these hieroglyphics I made 800
I think,
years
yeah.
ago. Like, I'm sure.
I think it
it's
was
still
more of
there
like a
somewhere.
marker.
All
Like,
right.
oh, I remember the vault has to be near here
Right.
somewhere.
Here comes the sun. It's a metaphor.
Yeah.
It's a movie. And I say,
So Selene finds Marcus. They fight. Then she's able to like lock him in the room that William was being held in. And this is the one CG shot
that
that
door
did
drops
not
fast.
look great. Because Marcus transforms in this scene and it looks
Yes.
pretty rough. It's very
Yeah, I don't like
glossy.
this.
I don't like how
Yeah.
glossy it looks. Like, why is he so shiny? I understand he's in the water, but it's still he looked way too shiny. And I was like, what is happening? I don't like this.
what?
The shiny song.
So
Damn it, you-
shiny. Okay, that's all we could do.
No,
It's
I
a
was
Disney
thinking-
song.
I was thinking of a different. I was thinking of My Shiny Teeth and Me.
Oh, that one too.
Chip Skylark.
Yep,
Yes.
he gets it.
So Selene
The
fights
core memory
William.
unlocked.
Yep, there you
Oh.
go.
Dan can bring those out of you anytime.
I just my brain's like, remember this? Like I do now.
Oh. So Selene then fights William, and we get the really cool. Is this really cool or is this really weird? Where she jumps back. She gets like, I don't know if she gets thrown or she just jumps back where she dives through. She goes through the hole in the bridge there. And then she lands and then she reloads her gun by hitting them together from the magazine. And then just
Dumps into him.
also
She know what she doing.
we realize these things just don't die, right? With regular bullets. Why are we wasting so many bullets on these things, man?
Right?
Like she walks into a room earlier in the movie with like a submachine gun and just unloads onto Marcus, and he's just like, "Ah!" and
It
then
seems like it's a
nothing.
minor
It
inconvenience.
really is like a tickled. Oh, that
Well,
was
she has that shotgun too, right? In the scene.
Yeah,
where,
she, like-
every time she pulls the shotgun out of the water, you could just see the water dumping out of the barrel whenever she pulls it up.
Yeah, just make sure that barrel's clear before you pull that trigger, man. Or it's gonna be a bad day
I
for
was like, you couldn't have
everybody.
found any other cuts or any other like
no,
I don't know. You couldn't edit it a little bit better.
It looks cool.
All that water is dumping out of the barrel when she pulls it up.
Oh god.
Wait a minute.
Yeah, it's cool. The funny thing is we see her do the reload by hitting the two clips together and then shooting, and then she does it again. I was like, it's only cool once. We don't need to see it multiple times. Then it just takes the cool factor away from
Yep.
seeing
Yeah.
it. Okay. All of her crew get bit by William, and they all start changing and attacking her. And
Yep.
again, we see some of them turn full-fledged into a lichen. Some of them are like halfway there. I don't know how the rules go when it comes to who gets to transform into full-fledged lichens and who doesn't. But all right. Guess what? Wyatt's favorite character's alive. He shows back up looking all gray and
Zero explanation for why he's still alive. Like
because he's a
There's no,
hybrid.
like,
Get
I just
takes
don't
a lot to
understand.
kill- takes a lot to kill these hybrids. But he does
I guess
he jumps
like, I feel like her getting the the hybrid power from the old dude kind of negates the Michael, like his reasoning to
Being
be
there?
there at any
Right.
point. Yeah, like why is he there at this point? Because that, like, going off of what's happened, she should be able to take everybody out now with her having these extra powers.
Yeah. I think it's well, I mean, based on what we see in a couple minutes is the fact that one has to take one and the other takes the other, right?
Yeah, we have
Oh,
to have
yes.
the fatality.
Yes, the stage fatality.
Yeah.
the finishing move. Yeah,
The funniest thing though is like William is alive, or not William. Well, yeah, William is alive, but Michael's alive. He jumps into action, right? And we get
He's
this
fine,
whole,
by the way.
he's completely fine, but he's transformed. But also, there, like, Selene is in the middle of the fight with both Marcus and William. Michael shows up, and then it's one of those things where it's like, guys, can we just take a break real quick? I gotta have this quick reunion with my girlfriend. Okay,
Right.
we'll fight in a couple minutes. Just leave me alone. But no, William's like, fuck your reunion. It's like, and just like slaps the shit out of Michael, and the fight's back on again. And Marcus pulls the chopper down, which is a great effect. It's actually all done with miniatures and a half of an actual helicopter where they pull it down. And of course you have the helicopter goes down, but guess what? That rotor's still spinning, baby. It's going to keep going and going and going and going.
Wouldn't have done that. If it was any other movie, it would have hit something and it would explode and they'd be done.
Yo, Selene gets a haircut in this scene. Like, she literally, her hair, like, some of her hair gets chopped off. There's no way it didn't.
Yeah, she's way too close to that.
And she's still fighting Marcus up on the bridge there, and fucking Michael just grabs William's freaking upper jaw and just like, I was like, Jesus.
Relax, dude.
See, he called it saying he would be the first to die, and I'm like, well, wait a minute. We're on this scene. Like, we're in this fight, and it cuts back to that, and I was like, whoa.
Yeah, he was like, hey, Selene, look at this. Hey, Selene, look what I can do.
Look what I can do.
Trademark head rip.
Yeah.
Like MacGruber's throat rip. Have you ever seen MacGruber?
Yeah.
He's talking about wanting to rip someone's throat out, and then he eventually does it.
Oh my
This
God.
is the
I
one,
want to rip
dude.
so many throats today.
I just want to imagine Celine's face going, Michael, why?
You've gone too far.
Oh man, but I do love how she dispenses how she gets rid of Marcus Marcus stabs her with his wingtip there, and she breaks it off and then shoves it into through his chin.
So good.
And then freaking pushes him into the propeller blades, which is great. I guess originally that shot was supposed to be when he hits the propeller blades, he was just going to turn into mist. But I love it that it's literally chopped into a bunch of pieces. I love it like his torso like slaps the bridge and just slides up.
Yeah.
It's so good.
It was.
And then you find out Selene's not affected by the sunlight, and it's like, yay, she can be out. Does that mean that the rest of these movies are going to be in the sunlight? Because that's going to make it kind of weird.
Yeah,
vampire movies need to be in the dark, but
they do.
Yes.
Ruin the good goth aesthetic of the first two movies here.
Yeah.
Right?
And so and then they have a makeout session as the camera slowly zooms out, and then we get
why not?
Yeah, because why?
in her
Because
face.
why not? He is literally like,
Like Jim Carrey and Dumb and Dumber in that dream sequence.
I want you inside me, Scott Speedman.
I'm telling you, man. There's
Hold
no
me
fucking
now.
I'm 6 feet from it.
What was dang it? What was the video I showed you of what it would look like, or what the song would sound like?
What the song would sound like if it was actually recorded in real life? Like, because it's the music video, and like,
was it that song?
that was
Oh
it
my
was that
gosh.
one, and it would be like, it would show him, he'd be singing, and you just see the other dudes like playing in the distance, but you really wouldn't really hear him because you would just hear the dude singing, and then when it pans out for a wide shot, you don't hear.
Oh, I watched
anything.
that. Yeah, that's so
Or the
funny.
one-
that one too.
Funny.
Or the drummer, and you just hear the drums
It's
playing,
like-
and you hear nothing,
it's like,
no singing or anything. I
I
love
think
it.
they played
Oh my
into it
gosh, I
too
love
throughout
it.
the movie, because every time like he's done transforming, he doesn't have a shirt on, and then he just has to put a jacket with no shirt on underneath.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
he just looks like he's out of like a 90s music video, like blowing in the
100%.
wind.
Yes.
Oh.
Hey, he's got the hair too.
Yeah. They should have just got Scott Stapp for it. Why not? He was big at the time, right?
He would have been drunk the entire time.
Oh yeah. This is during the Creed fall off, I guess.
Yeah.
So maybe
Oh yeah.
2006.
And this movie ends like the first one, where we get a voiceover from Selene about how all of the elders are dead and things are going to be better, but also people are going to be after her and Michael. So we shall see how that's going to go with Underworld Awakening, which is the direct sequel to this. But that's not where we're going for the next one. As next week, we're going to be talking about Underworld Rise of the Lycans from 2009. So that's exciting.
To go forward, you have to go back.
Yes.
Yes.
But yeah, that's it for Underworld Evolution from 2006. Now it's time to go around the room and share our final thoughts on the movie. And we're going to start with our guest as always. Wyatt, what did you think of the movie after this latest viewing?
Well, I mean, it's been probably since the movie came out since I've seen it, both of them, to be honest. So after watching the first two, I definitely like the second one more than the first one. I think it was way more cohesive. I think it flowed a lot better than the first one. First one felt way too long and a little bit jumbled. I feel like they, as far as story writing went, they kind of found exactly where they wanted to go with this one. It didn't feel like there was any bloated spots or anything like that. We already talked about the special effects were top notch. I think it even compares with. Looks a little bit better than some of the stuff we see nowadays as far as some CGI. I mean, of course, early 2000s, some of it's going to be a little sloppy, but I think a majority of it was pretty damn decent for 2006. And I liked, like we talked about, I like how a lot of those same threads from the first one go into the second one, and they build off of it. And I mean, the ending, they kind of do hint that there's more to come, but it's a good kind of cutoff point if they didn't want to go anywhere from there, or if you're not a fan of the other ones, you can easily just say, oh, it's just these two. And I think they're a decent double feature, but the second one alone, I think it's pretty good. I mean, with the exception of Michael's character, who doesn't really need to be in the movie. He doesn't really have an arc in this overall. I mean, it seemed like they built him up as this super important character through the first and into this one, and then nothing really comes of it. Yeah. And the love stuff doesn't really make much sense as far as Selene's character and everything. But overall, I think it was an enjoyable movie. It was a fun time. Had a lot of schlocky stuff in there, but I think the effects were great. The gore in it was great, and I think the story did exactly what it needed to. And a lot of the characters were pretty decent in it, other than Michael.
Michael.
Angela.
Michael. This is the first time I have seen this. I do have my problems with some of the things in it. But I did like this one more than the first one. Even with my problems with it. Yeah, there's stuff from both movies that could have been cut out and it still would have been fine. But I really enjoyed the last fight lasting longer than, 5 seconds. Like, we're just going to stab somebody and okay, movie's over. I like the whole build up to the fight. Yeah, Michael sucks. But
we're all gonna start sounding like Loomis here. Michael! I hate Michael. He's gotta be stopped.
But I love the practical effects of this. The lichens were awesome, but I like lichens and vampires, so yeah.
All right. Go for it, Dan.
I say this is about I like them both about the same.
Mm-hmm.
The first and the second one. I think they're both real close. I like some things about this movie more. I think, of course, like with any film, the second one's always got to be bigger in some way.
Mm-hmm.
I like how the first one's kind of a little more self-contained in like this area for the most part. It's like and like you don't really go too far from it, though. This area is very nondescript.
You're kind of bouncing back between the same 3 or 4 places the whole movie.
Yes. And then like this one, there's like I like them like kind of running from this like enemy, and it feel like it's a like Wyatt says very kind of clear cut path to what's going on. Except for like they do flashback an awful lot in this movie. And there was like I mentioned the scene where I thought we were in a flashback, but we weren't. But for the most part, I enjoy the movie. I enjoy the additional characters. I like Marcus. I like William as like, he doesn't say anything, of course, but he's a cool wolf guy. And even don't mind the dad character. It's kind of a bit of a trope, like dad won't kill kids till something goes too far, right? But yeah, it was fun. The little more CG than the last one, which whatever, you see it a lot toward the beginning. I noticed a lot at the beginning where there were like lichens everywhere, but the transformations were better. The violence was better. Yeah, I don't know. It was good. It was I think it was equally enjoyable. I think they're a good like watch first, watch second.
I thought the flashbacks were good though for telling the story.
Yeah, no, and I don't think they were a bad way, but like it just seemed like there was like a lot of them. Like it did tie up a lot. It did attempt to tie up a lot of loose ends.
Hey, it's nothing like Witcher, where you didn't know if you were in a flashback.
Witcher, dude.
You didn't know if you were in present time or past. And it's
it took me like 6-7 episodes in until I realized where the fuck we were. I was like, can we have?
I don't think they were nearly as bad as the first movie either. I think the first one was very jarring with like certain flashbacks.
It was,
because it wasn't like a different color scheme. Like I noticed in this one, it's a different like color scheme, so you know it's a flashback.
Yeah. Maybe it didn't bother me as much. Maybe I just noticed it more in this one than I did the first one. But regardless, both are good, enjoyable action films. Definitely worth checking out, both of them. Scott Speedman's as wooden in this as he was in the last one.
Damn it, Speedman.
He had a better arc in the first one. I will give it that.
He did need a much better arc, and he's just kind of here.
Yeah.
He's like that leech that's attached to like Selene's butt cheek.
He's that one in the background. Constantly shows up like, hey, I'm still here.
Occasionally, like when he acts up.
Can I stick my dick in your belly button?
Later, Scott.
That's how vampires do
it. I mean, they must have different holes than everybody else.
God.
Maybe, I don't know. But yeah, that's definitely should watch it.
I really enjoyed this one. I thought it built well off of the prior movie. I thought the lore was really cool. I love the opening scene where it's not just showing us that, the word vomit, on the screen and then kind of giving us, oh yeah, you just got to kind of imagine what happens. Like, no, they give us kind of a great opening, set in the old times and that whole setup leading up to the modern stuff. I think Kate Beckinsale's great in these movies. I think she is definitely one of the highlights of it. I think she kicks a lot more ass in this one than she did in the first one.
Yeah.
And even when you watch the behind the scenes of this movie, like Len Wiseman, the director, literally states about how she has improved, not like Kate Beckinsale, but like the character of Selene has improved a lot from the first to second. Like she was very wooden in the first one. Because she was a death dealer. She was a vampire. Like she was doing like just killing people. Like she didn't really have that human side to her, where now she is, falling in love, even though it doesn't make any sense. And like things are kind of evolving for her. I mean, the movie is called Underworld Evolution. There's a lot of evolving happening with not just like our villains, but like with her and with even with Scott Speedman's character. I really enjoyed this one. I think as Wyatt stated, the effects are fantastic. A huge improvement from the first one. I love the amazing use of practical effects and miniatures and all that stuff is fantastic. The music's great. Like everything about this movie is just fun and entertaining, and I think it's a very good sequel.
Yes.
It's definitely one. If you're a fan of Underworld, definitely give Underworld Evolution a watch, because it really hits every note that Underworld hit plus more. Which is weird because a lot of people, I remember when we initially announced we were going to be covering these movies, and people said that this one was the worst one.
I saw a lot of bad reviews on it when I was looking up.
I don't know. I guess did we watch the right movie? Like,
yeah,
I don't know.
And I just remember from it coming out. I remember like so many people talking about this movie whenever it came out. At least like the people I associated with, like they loved Underworld in this movie whenever it came out.
Yeah.
I remember being huge.
All right, well, now it's time to go over to social media and see what you all had to say about Underworld Evolution. We're going to start over on Instagram. Our first one is from Big Bad Wolf A84. It says, Evolution wasn't too bad, but I still prefer the original and Rise of the Lycans. Also, I find it hilarious that there's a werewolf simply named William. Well, I mean, he was a person. He was a human first named William, and then he ended up turning into a Lycan. So,
what was that person's screen name?
Big Bad Wolf A84.
They're biased. They're biased
right, yeah.
That is biased.
They got a Lycan bias.
Our good friend Daniel Collins, or Big Optimist 33, says, I love Evolution. For me personally, it's my second favorite Underworld movie. Gotta love the Speedman sex scene. Oh yeah, we love it. All right.
It's something.
Over on Twitter, we have one from Jesse or at Mr_J300 who says, I tried watching these movies, but I couldn't get into them. But does anyone remember those reports of that Underworld TV series? I do remember that. I do remember there was supposed to be
Sounds
a TV
familiar.
show, or there was talks of a TV show. And yeah, it just never came to light, as did a lot of, I mean, we got a Play TV show. I'm surprised we didn't get a...
Right, yeah.
I'm surprised we didn't get a Underworld. Let's see. I think we got some over. We got our Discord. Let's go over to our Discord and see what you all had to
Don't
say
do
over
it. It's
there.
trap.
It's a tarp.
Old Man Brad just says, I really love this one as well. The werewolf lair was fun. Werewolf
Sorry, I
lair.
couldn't be here, Brad.
Yes, we
We
miss you,
got
Brad.
Wyatt this time.
Yeah. Brad will be back. Brad will be back for another Underworld episode. And I think that's it. Yeah, that is all the comments for Underworld Evolution. Our final thing before we step away from this movie and this franchise for this week, we got to rank this baby. And we're only doing one ranking, and that is the movie itself. We used to do like 16 different rankings when we were covering franchises, but it's exhausting.
Yes.
The most important one is, I mean, I guess we could do a villain one. Should we do a villain one? The first one's villain was Victor. And then this one is Marcus. Is Marcus better than Victor?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I like Bill.
Bill.
So Angela, you said yes. Marcus is better
Yeah.
than Victor. Wyatt says yes, and I'm going to say yes. I
Okay,
like
cool. Do it.
I like Marcus. I think he does more than Victor does in the prior
He
movie.
does.
And of course, he doesn't really become the villain until the end of the movie. And not to say he's a bad villain. I like the twist to the fact that Victor is actually not a good guy.
Yeah.
And that Lucien, who you think is the villain from the start, is not actually a villain. I love that twist in the first movie. And so I think Marcus, you know, like the thing is this movie even kind of gives you a small twist, because in the beginning of the movie, you don't think Marcus is going to be a villain, because Marcus is kind of against Victor, right? Because he doesn't want him to kill his brother. But damn, when he wakes up from his sleep, he's a fucking dick, and he is setting out to kill everyone in order to find his brother. And you're like, I think he's a bad guy. he's a bad guy. So Marcus over Victor for villains. And then the movie, is Underworld Evolution better than Underworld? Wyatt?
Oh, yeah. 100% better than the first one.
All right. Angela?
Yeah, because that one's opening scene reminds me of Skyrim.
The opening scene to this one?
Yeah, with them in
It
their
kind of
armor.
reminded me of Resident Evil Village a little bit, especially with like
Yeah.
the werewolves running around and everything in the
True.
snow.
Except for they have werewolves instead of dragons.
So is that a yes or a no?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Dan?
I could take it either way. I was very they're
Oh.
very samey, right?
Sure.
I'd take Scott Speedman in the belly button. But no, I can take it either way. Like, there's a lot of things I like about this movie over the first one, but there's a lot of things I like the first one too. Like, it's just like, I don't know, but like either one. So I'm good with either answer you go with.
Well, you're
They're about the
probably
same.
outnumbered.
Yeah, I'm gonna be, but I'm fine with it.
I am going to agree with Angela and Wyatt. I'm going to say this is better. This is more entertaining. I really enjoy the first one. I think it has its good moments. Like I said, it's got the good twist. It's got good performances, effects, all that. But this was that, but more. It didn't have the big twist like the first one did, but I like Marcus and like the fact that he's just hell-bent on getting his brother back. The effects are fantastic. I love I love the look of Marcus, I actually love the look of Marcus, but I love the look of William. Like I said, if I could find a figure of William, I would buy it because it's cool as hell.
That'd be cool. That would be really
And
neat.
I just like how the lore is where we dive deeper into the lore of this world, and it's really interesting. And it's not super convoluted, at least yet. You know, we're only 2 movies into this franchise, so
Give 'em time.
who knows what
Yeah.
this prequel is going to do, if it's going to just retcon shit. But guess what? Michael Sheen is back.
Yeah, that's true. Well, we will have Lucian
I'm
back.
very excited for that.
And I want to say, like, watching these 2, and I haven't seen the other ones, it makes me want to watch the next one and go from there. Especially with Michael Sheen coming back, he was awesome in the
Yeah.
first.
Dude, he's like one of the best characters in that movie. All right,
Mhm.
so yeah, all right. Well, that means that Evolution is going to be our new number 1, and then Underworld will be number 2.
There you go.
Next week, as I stated before, we are going to be talking about the prequel in the Underworld franchise, 2009's Underworld: Rise of the Lycans. I'm very excited to dive into this one. These first 2 have really got me wanting to know more about everything beforehand. You know, all the stuff that we saw in the beginning of this one, the whole Sonya scene, because I know that she's a main character in that one. So it's going to be interesting to see how that gets turned into a full-length movie and see how that goes. So, and there's been a lot of praise for that one. Like, people put that as like their favorite movie from this franchise. So
Interesting.
we shall see how it goes. All right. Well, that's it for Underworld, everything Underworld tonight. Wyatt, thank you so much for being here and joining us
Yes.
for this episode. Please share with everyone where they can find you, and just talk about Cinema Trip Reviews some more.
Yeah, I mean, thank you so much for having me on. It's always a blast talking about movies with you guys. Everybody can find me, Cinema Trip Reviews, on YouTube and also wherever you get your podcasts. We usually try to release an episode every week. I've been kind of slacking as of recently, but I will be back on that grind here shortly. I've been cooking up some new episodes, so it'll be coming soon here.
Awesome. All the links for Cinema Trip Reviews will be down in the description. Make sure to go follow his YouTube channel. Make sure to listen to the audio versions of those episodes. They're great. Short and sweet, which is always a plus. I know a lot of people love those nice and short episodes. And if you want a show that will give you those, Cinema Trip Reviews is definitely that. If you come here looking for that, you're in the wrong place.
Yes, you are.
Yeah, I mean, I do have solos which are shorter, but when I do have guests on, they do tend to run a little longer.
If you want to listen to me and Wyatt talk about the Matrix franchise, make sure to go over to
Yes.
Cinema Trip Reviews, and we covered, well, at least the first 3.
The first 3,
We don't know if we want to put ourselves through the torture of watching the newest one. So
maybe eventually down the line.
it's gonna be a me and Wyatt get really drunk and get in front of our microphones and talk about Matrix, whatever the hell
You know
it's
what?
Resurrection.
That might not be a bad
That'd be
idea. We
sweet.
might have to make that happen.
drunk movie review.
Yeah, because they were drunk when they
That'd
made
be
it, so we
fun.
might as well.
100%. And then make sure to check out all the other episodes that Wyatt was on. I'm actually, since this is Wyatt's 4th appearance on the show, he's going to get his own playlist on the YouTube channel, so you'll be able to find all of the episodes that Cinema Trip Reviews has been on there. We already have one for Joey C since he's been on here 5 times. So yeah, when you get to 4 appearances on our show, you're going to get your own playlist on the YouTube channel. So make sure, if you want to know every episode that Wyatt has been on, just go over to YouTube and check that out.
We did do another one, didn't we? We did Serpico. Me and you.
We sure did.
Serpico.
We've done, we've worked together quite a bit.
That's like one of my highest rated like podcasting episodes, like on streaming and everything. Like Serpico's up there for some reason.
I feel honored that I'm a
There you
part
go,
of
dude.
that.
But I need to have the whole squad on. We've been talking about it. I gotta get
Yes.
the whole squad on the show to talk about
Yes.
a movie here.
You don't want that. It's just gonna go downhill if I'm there. Like, this is the worst viewed show I've ever had. It's gonna happen. Just don't let me pick the movie.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's when it happens. We're gonna do Gundam something for my
Damn right.
Christmas movie.
Damn right. Or Day of the Dead. Nobody watched that one either.
Listen, those were the early days. I think if we did a Day of the Dead episode now, I think it would do way better. But I digress. As for us, you can find us on social media. We're on pretty much all the social media apps. We are at Dissect That Film on everything but Instagram and Threads. We are Dissect That Film Pod. We are on YouTube, youtube.com/dissect that film, where we do video forms of the episodes, so you can see us. Hello. We are on Patreon, patreon.com/dissect that film, where for a single $1, you can get access to uncut versions of the episode. So every waking minute that we record, you get to hear over on Patreon before it gets chopped into a million pieces and then released on the main feed on Fridays. So usually you get those almost a week before the full episode releases. So I think it's worth that $1. We also do polls over there once in a while, and I got some things in the works in my brain. That's what in the works means, to also happen on Patreon. So yeah, go support us over there on Patreon. We appreciate it. If you can't do that, make sure to go to your favorite podcast app and rate us 5 stars. Leave us a review. It really helps us get into more people's ears. And we really want to grow this audience that we have. We love everybody who listens to the show, but we would love to have some new people come in and listen to the show. We think we're funny. I don't know how most people think, but yeah, we have fun with this. That's the main thing. We're having a blast doing this show, and we really want you to listen to it. So make sure to leave all those reviews. I think we're inching close to 40 over on Spotify, which is pretty exciting. That's pretty cool.
Nice.
Yeah, I think that's about it. I think I'm probably forgetting something. I'm always forgetting something. Am I forgetting something, Dan? Oh, I did forget something. Did you know that we have another show on this feed? It's called The Monster Zone, where once a month we spin a wheel and we land on a monster movie and we talk about it for the month of
this October.
This is coming out in April. Will this be out in April?
Maybe.
This may be coming out in April. I don't know. But currently we have Beginning of the End, which was an old Patreon episode. And then we had Attack of the Giant Leeches, which was our newest recorded episode with our new co-host, Mikey. And then next month, you're going to be getting some Patreon vaulted episode or a re-release of another episode. I don't know what I'm going to be doing, but your new episode will be the Alligator People from 1959. I think it's another 1959 movie.
Yeah, 57, 58, 59 are like the boom years for those movies. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Which I just picked up this awesome 4-pack DVD. It's got the Alligator People, Cabinet of Caligari, the remake, the original Fly, and House of the Damned. It was only $10, the DVD. But
jeez, good deal.
I'll take it. So yeah, that's what we got going on in the Monster Zone. It's on this feed, so don't look for the Monster Zone as its own show. It is part of this feed. It comes out every other Monday. And yeah, now that's it. That's all I got to plug. And the last thing I got to do is shout out all the wonderful people over on Patreon who support us. We have Billy Joseph Jr., Andrew Schoening, Bucket of Chum, the Shark Movie Podcast, Corey Morissette, Daniel Collins, Dustin from the Flicks and Friends Podcast, Dan and Angela of DNA Gaming, Anna Presley, Doom Generation, Eric Stein, Jason, Robert Stewart, and Rudy5453. Thank you so much for supporting us over on Patreon. And thank you to everybody else who supports the show, shares the show, and all that fun stuff. And until next time, I am Brett Parker. That is Dan and Angela of DNA Gaming. And that is Wyatt of Cinema Trip Reviews. This has been another episode of the Dissect That Film Podcast. We'll see y'all again next time. Bye-bye. Remember to drink your blood before you go to bed tonight.
Stay away from the potatoes.
Stay away from the potatoes. Bye.